Alrighty, this is my recording for my application to submit and speak at HubSpot Inbound. What I didn't have a recording of me doing a live speech, so I wanted to do one for you today as if I was recording. The topic that I'm presenting on today is going to be a modified version of what I submitted to speak at HubSpot Inbound's conference. It's 5 tips to help you get the most out of Smarketing meetings. So I'm going to run through what all of those 5 tips are, and then I'm going to break out one of those tips into a full discussion. That way we can see a little bit more about how that presentation would work at Inbound. So thank you for your time today. Thank you for attending. My name is Morgan Landry, and I'm the Director of Marketing at New Horizons Learning Group. We're a professional vocational training institution, and we focus on helping people get jobs, promotions, and help them be better at work and make an impact in their community. About 2 years ago, we adopted HubSpot in the inbound methodology, and we came from a very traditional sales model. We came from people cold calling with dialers, senior salespeople, inside salespeople, anybody that had gone through the process of dialing for dollars. That's what we were all about. And our company has been around since 1982. So we were fighting that uphill battle of how do we take a sales organization that has been successful as a sales organization and turn them into a marketing-driven organization. One of the first recommendations that I got when I was working with HubSpot and our inbound partners was to set up a Smarketing call. And that was something I was a little bit hesitant about once I heard this is how you should do it, this is how you shouldn't do it, here's what HubSpot recommends. So I want to share with you today the 5 things that I've learned to make your Smarketing meetings a success. Learn from my mistakes and roll this out to your teams. If you're not doing this already, it's a great way for you just to open the communication and start talking with people. So step 1, set expectations one-on-one and as a group of people. Smarketing meetings are all about coming together to discuss problems and collaborate on solutions, and sometimes we have to remind ourselves of that over and over again. If you're doing this in person or if you're doing it online, make sure that you're always setting the stage for what that is. Number 2, you always want to get the right team on the call. I recommend having 6 people. HubSpot recommends you can have up to 10. I find that the smaller, more intimate group you have, the more discussion you're going to have. And anywhere over 6, people start getting a little bit intimidated, especially if you're in that virtual environment and you're not doing this one-on-one. Number 3, I always recommend giving the team some homework. And the reason for that is so you can come to the meeting and you can be more prepared and have a better conversation and not be figuring things out as you go on the fly. Everybody's time is valuable. If we're going to be asking our sales teams to participate in taking them away from their traditional selling activities, we want to make sure that we're providing value to them and to the organization and making it worth everybody's time. Next, you want to encourage and allow for healthy conflict. When this is going to take a lot of encouragement and a lot of practice on your part in helping your team, is conflict isn't always bad. There's okay to be disagreement, and this is something that we're actually going to dive into a little bit more as the one that I want to expand out for you. And the last one is you need to release people. Release the Smarketing duties from people after a quarter, or 3 to 4 months is typically what I recommend. And the biggest thing and the most important thing is to not have any management attending. I attended my first Smarketing meeting and I told my 10, I promise you I'm just going to stay on mute. I'm just going to listen. We're about 2 minutes in before somebody asked me a direct question. So it's a great, great opportunity for you to develop your team and to take the sales and the marketing managers out of that discussion. So the option that I wanted to preview for you today was actually step 4, and that is to encourage and allow for healthy conflict. So giving 4 different tips for people that I want to expand upon in the actual breakout session of HubSpot Inbound to encourage and allow for healthy conflict during a Smarketing meetings. We've already done the first 3 steps. We made sure that we set expectations, we have the right team on the call, and we've given people some homework so they can come prepared to this meeting and have the best meeting possible in usage of our time. So that being said, we've got 6 people on the call. Everybody should speak at some time. If you're repeating yourself over and over again, you're not making your point and you're not being more effective. You're politicking. And it really gets to the point where it's reducing the impact of what you're saying when you just repeat yourself. And I'm guilty of this on a regular basis. So that's the first thing that I recommend to people. If you find yourself repeating yourself, that person is probably politicking, and that would be a great opportunity for you to jump in and say, hey, Joe, I appreciate that. That's awesome. We've got that in the notes. Now we're going to move on to somebody else's topic. We're going to come back to that, I promise you, but we want to get feedback from the rest of the team. Now, speaking of the rest of the team, you don't want to have any silent attendees. A lot of times in our organization, we found that the salespeople that were quieter, the marketing team members that were a little bit on the quieter side, they had these great ideas, but they weren't given that opportunity in a group setting or in a format to really let those ideas shine. So having a moderator that, or just an agreement as a team, you don't necessarily need to have one moderator, but having everybody on the team be available to say, hey, Jill, what are you thinking? Or, hey, Mark, give me feedback on that one. Is going to create that environment for healthy trust and healthy conflict. If there's people on your team that you know have a personal tension, or if there's something that's happened recently, it might not be the best idea to get everybody on that team. Let them work out their tension and their challenges with each other on a different meeting. Smarketing meetings are all focused about ideas, solutions, how do we get alignment, and how do we make stuff happen. Another part of this that I want to call out, and this is a terminology we use in our conversation or in our organization all the time, is only inbound communication. And inbound communication, different than inbound, but inbound communications means that there's no out of bounds comments. We play in the lines, we are all adults, we speak to each other with respect, we don't make accusations. So I've got a great graphic that I'll share with you as far as what does inbound communication mean. Anybody that's ever played sports, this is really easy. We have a set of rules. And if you have a foul, you get penalized for that, whether it's a free throw, whether it's being in a penalty box, whether it's a red card. So we want to set a set of rules of how we communicate with each other, especially on Smarketing meetings, letting everybody know, hey guys, we're here, we're on the same team, we're all in this together. The biggest thing that I have experienced in my Smarketing meetings are to remind people that we are only solution focused. And this happens a lot, and this happens very easily for people. What they do, they'll find out, hey, I had this issue and I want to vent and I want to get this off my chest. And that's great. People do need a forum to vent. This is not that forum though. Giving people that homework ahead of time will get them to the point where they don't have to vent everything, because it's not the first time they're talking about it, and they're not going to sit back and say, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how upset I was. So giving people that reminder that, hey, we are solution focused, and this is not the place for you guys just to vent or point fingers or say, I'm so frustrated with this. We want to get down to the root of what is the issue and how do we go through this. The final thing I want to leave you with is a tool that I've adopted and our organization has adopted. It's not our tool. It's a part of a separate philosophy called EOS, and that's a different conversation we can talk about another time, but it's for problem solving. And this is called to IDS something. So IDS stands for identify, discuss, and solve. So we want to identify what is the challenge we're working on with Smarketing, and we need to come up with a solution for it, but we can't just jump into solving all the solutions. So there's a couple tips and tools I have for this. So the best thing is to say, what is the issue? Can you explain the issue in one sentence? Who has the issue? Who owns the issue? Who have we talked about to the issue? And what is the issue in one sentence? Now, whoever brings the issue up is going to facilitate that part of the conversation. They're going to give their feedback saying, here is my issue. Here's who I've talked about it with. Here's what I think the issue is in one sentence. Then we're going to go through the process and we're going to ask why 5 times. So for example, we might say, sales isn't getting enough leads. Okay, why is that the issue? Well, sales doesn't think that we're not getting any live chat leads. We used to get a ton of live chat leads. Okay, well, why are we not getting live chat leads? Well, we switched teams, and now instead of the marketing coordinator team working live chat, the sales team is taking on live chat. Okay, well, why did that happen? Because why is sales now taking on the live chat? Because we thought that sales was more qualified to be having conversations directly with their customers. Okay, and why was that? Because we realized that people on the website were asking us questions that marketing couldn't answer. Okay, so now we might be getting to the true issue. We've got people who are on our website who are trying to talk to us, and we don't have answers for them on their website. So they're trying to reach out and schedule and talk to somebody in sales. And there's a disconnect when sales talks to that person saying this person's not ready to buy. So we just got down to the root of the issue, and we figured out that we have questions people are asking us on our live chat tool that we're not answering on our website, that marketing can't answer, that sales doesn't believe they have the time to answer. That's okay. Now we're down to the issue. So now we can start discussing it. And once you get to the true issue, everybody needs to agree, yes, this is the true issue. What I find when we go through this IDS process is that there's the issue, the first issue you brought up is really just a symptom. And there could be other issues that come down. Sometimes a symptom of an issue, when we get down to what's the issue, what's the issue, what's the issue, sometimes we have 2 or 3 different issues down here. We need to select one and run with it so we can solve that issue and it no longer is an issue moving forward. So now in the IDS process, we've identified what the issue is, we have team agreement on what the issue is, and now we're going to move forward and we're going to start discussing the issue and we're going to start solving the issue. So discussion is where we have a lot of the topics to say, hey, what if we did this, or what if we tried this, or we used to do that and we stopped, why did we not doing that? So discussion is going to take up a huge part of time as we're talking about this. Then we're going to jump into solving. Anytime you hear something that's an action item or a to-do, that needs to go under your solve piece of it. The purpose of the solve and the discussion process of this IDS is going to make sure that this issue doesn't rear its ugly head again. We are getting to the root cause of this issue. We're segmenting that one true root cause of the issue. We all agree on what that is. We're discussing it and we're coming up with very actionable, capable things for us to do. We're not going to go through a to-do and say, hey, we need to entirely change our operating system, or we need to entirely change our business process. That's not the goal of this. But let's break it down into little, quick, actionable, maybe it's a week, maybe it's a 2-week action item. It shouldn't be a huge project. It shouldn't have its own separate project plan. So IDS is going to be key as you're talking through the sales and marketing issues that we're having. How do we get to the root of the issue? How do we discuss it? And how do we solve it? That is one of the 5 tips I have for getting the most out of your Smarketing meetings. The other 5 tips I would absolutely love to talk about in more detail at the HubSpot Inbound Conference. So this is video and this topic and my delivery style is something that you'd love to share with your audiences. I would be honored to participate on the HubSpot stage. Thank you so much and have a good afternoon.